the madhouse.
Cheers to episode 3.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. Jose Cuervo, Silver, Tequila.
Dr. McGillicuddy's down the throat.
Ooh. All right. Oh my God. Give me a second. Today is Monday, February 1st. Happy February, boys. 7:56 p.m. and Jared Goff is our starting quarterback. I will never forget where I was when I heard the news. I was drunk on a Saturday night, standing in our apartment hallway, and Alex said, "Did you see what Evan texted in the group chat?" No, I did not. I look, Evan has the news. We traded Stafford. So, what was everyone's instant reaction when you heard the news? Alex, we will start with you today.
Immediate reaction while I was pounding down Taco Bell late on a Saturday night.
Ooh.
I love Jared Goff. I don't know if I love him as a football player, but I love the guy, Jared Goff, and that was my immediate reaction, and I was extremely excited about it.
My gut initial reaction was hate, double hate, capital H, hate. I hated it. Right, or my first reaction, right when I saw that Adam Schefter sent a notification to my phone only, was like, Evan, spread the word. I hated it. I didn't like it. I didn't want anything to do with it, and I wish we never happened.
Wow. So, maybe our brains work a little bit different, where you guys start analyzing the trade. My brain was like, wow, this is weird. This is happening at 10 p.m. on a Saturday. And it happened fast because it feels like I don't know what timeline I was expecting, but I didn't think the deal would get done this fast. I was not ready for this. I felt like I was caught with my pants around my ankles when this trade came through. And then I'm not going to say it killed my buzz. It was like, I need to focus up, see what's going on right now. And then that quickly led to just brainwashing myself full of good vibes from alcohol, watching Jared Goff highlight tapes, not lowlight tapes, and be like, wow, I think we got a guy here. And then I woke up, and then the other part of my brain took over, and I started to look at it from the bigger picture.
I'm going to puke.
We're going to get 4.
I'm going to puke.
What if we get 1?
I'll puke.
Let's talk about it.
I'll
What
puke
if
in
we get
excitement.
1?
I might take my shirt off.
I'm nervous about all this equipment. If we get 1.
I was trying to plan out my moves.
I have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I'm just going to be happy. So what does everyone think before we come out of this commercial?
Well, so
I think 2.
So I'm going to go back to Tankathon because Toronto had like a 9% chance to get a top pick. Orlando got screwed already. They were supposed to be the 3rd pick, 3rd highest odds. They were tied with us.
OKC's out too. They didn't get top 4 either.
Don't they have 2 picks? No, they have Houston's pick. So they don't have it anymore. So yeah, OKC's out. Cleveland's up there, and Toronto came from 7.
So it's Cleveland, Toronto, Detroit, and Houston.
But
so
isn't it still Minnesota? Isn't Minnesota still in this mix?
There's only 4 teams.
Oh,
Houston,
yes?
Detroit, Cleveland, and Toronto. That's it.
So,
I think Houston's getting 1. We're getting 2. It's gut. That's what my gut
No,
says.
because Houston's already had a superstar. They had a chance.
My gut says they want Houston to be good.
So do the percentages still matter? Because it says Toronto has a 7.5% chance to get the number 1 overall.
Yes,
pick.
that still matters.
Or no, now is it a 25% chance?
No. It's still that.
Who's left? Cleveland has an 11%. So Cleveland
Cleveland
will not get the first pick. There's no way
they have
that
a
can
million
happen.
times. It can't happen again.
If you know what, if Cleveland gets the first pick, I think
it's rigged.
it's not rigged because that is like
True.
pure random.
Why would they do it
franchise
again?
to be good?
And they blow it every time. They try to find Anthony Bennett Jr.
Didn't they draft LeBron once at first?
It worked once.
They blow it every time.
They didn't win during his draft tenure. They didn't win till he came back.
Clearly.
So they did blow it with LeBron because he left them.
And you love him for it. How about that guy at the gym today? That's unbelievable.
Are you just trying to deflect from
Yes.
clear nervousness?
That's why I want to talk about Ben Simmons.
I'm
I actually
super
think he'd be a
nervous.
good fit.
He might be.
But if
we have Cade, I don't want
if I
him.
post this clip of like Ben Simmons like come to Detroit, people will absolutely come with pitchforks at me. So I don't know if I will. I'm telling you, that's how decisive.
That's a soft move not to post it.
But also like
Evan, don't look at your phone.
he's just.
Are you out of the commercial?
No.
No.
We're not either.
We gotta communicate here when we come back, boys, so we know we're at the right spot.
Just make sure no one has notifications on. That'd be a really big buzzkill.
My phone is underneath the couch. All right, they're doing the graphic.
We're
they're
back.
coming back. And now I'll tell you when I see a human being. It's still just sitting. All right, I see Devin Booker shooting. Is Devin Booker shooting?
Yes, I'm like right on.
Okay, so we're there. So, yeah, okay, we'll be good. He looks like he's going to go for 35. We could have had him, as Evan said. Damn. He would be so awesome as a Piston.
Cade Cunningham would be awesome. Get DeAndre Ayton off. No
No,
one cares about
I'm excited for this game.
Everyone cares about the teams that they're trying to get better.
Oh, gosh. What if she, like, we have no volume. What if she just asked him, like, DeAndre, who do you think is going to get the first pick? He's
They're
like,
asking about it right now.
No.
They're asking about him on draft night.
Oh, okay. He was the number one pick?
Yes.
I forget that. Remember they got bounced by Buffalo and he got paid to go to school there? Shout out Sean Miller for keeping his job. Wait, no, did he get fired?
Yeah, he got fired.
But he survived it for a couple years.
See, there it is.
Oh. So that's an order of most likely to, probably?
Yes.
You know, we need to go back to a new logo. I don't like our logo.
That's another
Our logo
discussion.
stinks.
Our NBA,
Does.
not Shaw Michigan Sports, our logo is Fire Flames. The Pistons.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, gosh, I'm nervous. Did you see in that tweet you sent us, Alex?
So, which one is he saying? 4 or 1?
It's going to go from 4.
4.
It's us. I can
I
tell.
think.
Oh, my God. Top 3.
Was that the first pick?
No, that's
No,
not the
no,
first pick.
no.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It's the Raptors was the 4th, folks. Cleveland.
Oh!
Dude, top 2. Top 2.
Come on.
Top 2.
Come
Wait,
on.
so now it's going to be first. Now this is first pick. This is first pick.
Number 1 pick.
This is second pick. They said second pick. We got the first
Yes!
pick. We got the first pick.
No way. No way.
Yes!
We got the first pick in the draft. Cade Cunningham.
We did it! We did it! We willed it!
Dude,
We spoke.
We did it!
into
look at Ben.
existence.
Look at Ben. Yes.
Oh, my
Oh
God.
my god.
We're going to be good. We're going to the postseason.
Look how happy Rachel is. Look how happy Ben is.
Oh, my God. We did
Oh, my
it.
God.
We actually did
Oh,
it.
my God.
We actually did it.
Yes.
My God. Ben Wallace needs to be our GM.
Oh, my God.
It really happened. I can't actually believe it.
Oh, my God. Evan, great call. I thought that was the first pick.
I
Oh,
turned the volume on.
that's so
I
huge.
turned the. Yeah, they usually do it the opposite way. They usually go first, then second. But I turned the volume on just to listen to it, and they said with the second pick.
Oh, my God. We actually won. The NBA wants us to be good again. It's not rigged. It was all never rigged.
So now we don't need Ben Simmons?
No. No, we have Cade Cunningham. It's a guarantee. We can buy his jersey. Watch
There
us,
it is, boys.
watch us draft Evan Mobley.
Oh, God.
No, Troy wouldn't do that.
It feels so good that our
Feels
podcast
like-
just spoke this into existence.
Dude, we
That
really did.
Single-handedly spoke this into existence, and we're the reason the Pistons have the first pick.
Right before our podcast, I said I was going to do one tankathon,
Yeah.
and whatever it was would happen. And I hadn't gotten Detroit first at all. Detroit was first.
He
Look
did
what
say that.
happened. It happened.
But also behind the scenes, like between us, I was like, dude, I think we're going to get 6. I've been
did
doing a lot of
think-
simulations.
I wasn't confident. But Dan Campbell willed that to happen. And now we have a super.
My heart's racing.
Oh, my God.
Hey, I hate to be that guy. Let's just enjoy the moment. But, like, what if we draft, like, Jalen Green first? Are we going to be on board?
Nope. I will, I'll burn the shirt. I'll be pretty upset.
But as Grant was, sitting there while I'm watching intently, he's just like, oh, this game's not even close. This game's not even close.
It wasn't.
But it really wasn't. In Michigan State, punched him in the mouth and it was awesome to watch. Literally. I don't mean that it's good that Io got punched in the face. It was a figure of speech for all you soft Illinois fans out there. But, great game. Langford with an absolute man performance on the boards. 15 and 16. Impressive stat line. Yeah, awesome game. I'll chirp Illinois fans at the end of Michigan State segment. I don't want to do it quite yet.
Why? Just do it now.
You want me to chirp them now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I guess I can do that. Illinois fans, I understand that your fan base is sad and that you don't win a whole lot. Actually, never won a national championship. Haven't won the Big Ten in, I think, like 16 years. Haven't made it to the Sweet 16 in 16 years. So I understand you're upset. You're not used to being relevant. So when Michigan State, unranked, bubble Michigan State, punches you in the mouth, literally and figuratively, I can understand why you'd be upset. But you lost the game because you played bad. You played soft, and you looked terrible. And your coach, you reflected how your coach was coaching.
Slick Brad.
Bad.
Slick hair Brad.
Worried about other things. Also, shout out number 15 with the super long name on Illinois. Bishanis Vishili or whatever.
Bishanisvili.
Yes, him.
Mm-hmm.
Screaming at his bench, let's go, firing up the team, and going down, having a great opportunity for a dunk and just getting stuffed by the rim. I mean, I thought you deserved it, so that was hilarious. Illinois fans are soft on Twitter, saying that Matty Sissoko should be ejected from the Big Ten altogether and should never play basketball again. Clearly, you've never watched a basketball game before. So, yeah, you guys are just soft, and, maybe if you start winning, you won't be as soft of a fan base.
My first one, I'm going to go super specific and then probably go like a little bit more broad. This one is like this. I might be the only person that has this one in the world. For some reason, I don't know when it started. I think in college. It's bugged me so much when you'd be in a conversation with someone. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough where it's like, this is annoying. Someone will say like, I woke up or I did this at 7 a.m. in the morning. AM means the morning, my man. You don't need to say 7 a.m. in the morning. It's already explained that you're in the morning. I think Evan's thinking if he does that or not.
Yeah, I think
a
I
lot of people do. And I probably have too, so I'm probably a hypocrite. But then like, oh, we're hanging out at 8 p.m. at night. Like, no. PM is at night. If you're saying we're hanging out at 8 p.m. tonight, that's fine because you're saying tonight, not tomorrow night. But if you're like, catch yourself, if you're like, hey, I got food at 8 a.m. at night or 8 p.m. at night. It's like, no. You don't need to say the at night part, man. It's just PM. It's already explained. So really dumb, doesn't hurt anyone, but just grinds my gears.
To me?
No, to Fred.
Didn't know if there was snake drafting it. So this is probably my biggest one.
That was a fair point on the snake draft. I shouldn't have made that joke.
Yeah, it's fine. I just let people like you just in one ear, out the other. But licking fingers, like when you have messy fingers and you're sucking on them.
Come on.
Oh.
Add us next time. Will you add us next time?
I will.
That's how aggressive, like, licking fingers.
Licking fingers. Like, for example, Grant's the guy that's sticking his finger in the... I'm not trying to at you, but Evan told me to. So, sticks his finger in the peanut butter, puts it in his mouth.
No, I have never put my finger in peanut butter jar. I use a spoon. I am not an animal.
All right, fine. Other people
so walk it back. Walk it slowly
other
back.
People,
so you make Evan mad. Walk it slowly back.
Anyone that has stuff on their finger, use a napkin. It's very easy. But what do my friends love to do? Just stick their fingers in their mouth and go at it like animals. And it's just
so good.
It's one of the grossest things I've ever seen. It sounds disgusting. You're licking your fingers like a child. It's just
so
gross.
Good.
I cannot stand it. And anyone that knows me knows that I hate it, and I hate that noise more than anything. So that's probably my biggest pet peeve on the planet. And Evan is very guilty.
I am, but like Cheeto fingers.
Oh,
yeah.
God. That's the
Dorito
worst.
fingers.
Oh, get those
terrific.
fingers away from me.
You just get done eating actual wings,
Wet
not
wipes.
the boneless wings.
Wet
Chicken
wipes.
nuggets. You just get done, and you got sauce on your fingers. And
Bathroom. Wash your hands.
No. The only thing Evan's guilty of in that is guilty of a good time because it tastes so
yes,
good.
absolutely. I'm sorry, I like food.
It's
Yes,
okay,
sue me.
but I don't need to see it, and I don't want to see it.
Look at it.
Close your eyes.
I try to most often.
No, you love the pain. You like to look at
No.
people. You
No.
love looking at people lick their fingers deep down.
No.
You can't look away.
You're not doing it.
No, but you don't look away. Like,
Yes,
you're
I do. It's
I want to
disgusting.
see that, and then tell you how I hate it. But deep down, I like it.
No, it's gross.
Okay,
Add it to you.
My next one, I think everyone can agree. I'm not going to say slow drivers. I'm going to say the oblivious drivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
The drivers that don't understand like driving etiquette. You're in the left lane and you're going 1 mile per hour faster than the person in the right lane. Like, come on, buddy. Speed up to pass them and then get over them. Just because you're going 1 mile per hour, so like, oh, I'm going to pass them. No. Get going. I am on your ass. Get off the tracks when the train's coming through again.
Yep.
Because I got places to be. I'm sorry. I'm tired of the slow driving. Shout out my dad. He doesn't go over the speed limit. He's 71 mile per hour guy passing the semi. It's like, come on. Get it going, dude.
Wow.
And then it's like the common sense of driving and like knowing like if you're parked on like the side of the road. It just happened last week. I'll give you a great example.
Love it.
I got a haircut. It was probably 2 weeks ago now. Got a haircut, and he's like, you know what? I would want a smoothie. I'm going to go to Tropical Smoothie.
Treat myself.
And this Tropical Smoothie location is the worst location, I think, in mankind. The parking lot is not big enough. And, like, you can only park in, like, 4 spots because otherwise there's, like, the angle when you pull in, there's a sidewalk. And so you can't get the angle to pull in the rest of the parking spots. And so I pull into a parking spot. There's a girl that parks directly behind me, just in the driveway. I'm stuck. I can't get out. And she puts it in park and just sits there.
No.
I was stuck. I didn't get my smoothie. It was too backed up. Traffic was everywhere. I just got so pissed off. It's the oblivious drivers to me. Now a pet peeve.
He just throws his hands in like, I can't go anywhere. What a helpless feeling. Let's do, for me, this one I definitely was a gene pass along thing. I definitely got this from my dad because he hates it. And maybe I just learned it from him. I was like, oh, like my dad hates that, so maybe I hate it. I despise whenever I have to repeat myself. Like, it's not even like people's fault sometimes, because sometimes you just legitimately can't hear someone. But like if I'm like I'll purposely, if I'm having a conversation with someone and I'm like in a different room, it's kind of hard to hear. Like I'll just like stop talking sometimes because I know like I'm just going to repeat everything I say because it's too hard to hear. And I don't know what it is. It's like you say something, you give the energy of talking, and they're like, "What was that?" And it's like I just really don't want to say it all again. Like especially if it's something longer, you're like, you know what? Just forget about it. Like it was never said. You miss it the first time, you're not getting it again. Usually I do cave and repeat myself, but I despise it every time.
Fair. I've seen you freak out on me about it before, so I know how mad you
I
get.
already said it once. You need me to say it again.
Yeah. So my third thing is, so like say you're with a group of friends and you're driving everyone, and the people in the back are all complaining about your driving, but they never drive the group ever.
Oh.
So you're always doing the tasks.
So this is like back seat.
No. I will not accept this. I will not accept this coming from you. I will not accept it coming from you.
I can backseat drive, Evan, because I drive people all the time.
Before you get this off your chest, I have something to say about this issue.
Do it.
You're always the one to drive because you hate sitting in the back seat. You have to sit in the front seat so you have your leg room. That's why you always volunteer to drive. That's why we make fun of your driving. I will not accept this pet peeve of you. You bring it on yourself.
Number one.
Vetoed. I agree with Evan.
That's wrong. Because number one,
you're wrong.
I don't like sitting in the back seat because I get car sick. So
what?
Oh my God! What are you, 4 or 90?
Well, that happens. Number
man.
2, I drive usually because my car is bigger than everyone else's. So that is not really my fault.
Not a big deal.
When we
Sick brag.
drive far places, no one has a car that can hold everyone. So then I end up driving. And I wasn't even calling you out. I wasn't saying, Evan, that you were one of the people that
No,
complained.
he didn't say that.
I didn't.
No, I'm not.
You
saying
just
I
felt
complained.
personally
You
attacked.
bring it upon
No.
yourself.
I don't think so, because I think people should be grateful when I'm doing them a favor, and they're just not. And they just
Then
complain.
we should bow down that you decided to risk.
I just
at
don't
all.
think it's fair to have someone be like, dude, why didn't you turn left? Dude, why haven't you gotten gas yet? Dude, why won't you pull over for me to get McDonald's? Oh, dude, why didn't you drive everyone else then? Why am I driving if you had so many things?
I think you just could have said backseat drivers in general, but
It's not about backseat driving.
yes, it is.
No, it's about that.
because
like,
you don't drive.
It doesn't have to just be driving. If someone is doing something for other people and those people complain about the way you're doing it, but they won't do it themselves, that's what annoys me.
Yeah, but I think
That's
it might be too
overall
specific. But
the
like,
overarching.
you've definitely been a passenger in a
Oh,
lot of
I've
people's
complained.
cars.
I'm sure I've complained.
I don't know, and it's fair to say, like you're saying, on long road trips, you're typically the one that would drive the most of the time.
That's why I think it's fair.
Right, but
It's
then
the people who never ever drive ever.
But I can't think of one that really has never ever driven and then like talked crap in the car.
I'm not going to name people, Grant. That's rude. I was saying it's an overarching thing. When someone's doing something for you, you shouldn't complain about it if you're not going to do it yourself.
If someone has never ever driven a car that you've been in, then fair. Like if they ever
It's not just about cars. That was my example within my overarching thing, but you guys took it very personally because you felt like maybe you guys complain sometimes.
I don't think I really complain about your driving ever. I don't say a word.
No, and I've complained about yours plenty of times, and you lost your mind. That might be one of your pet peeves, honestly.
It was an honorable mention because I thought it was just so obvious, no-brainer, and we just covered it here.
Yeah, so it's not that I care that they're complaining about my driving. It's more so that if you want it done your way, then just do it yourself and don't rely on other people to do it for you.
That's fair.
That's really the overarching point. But I'm glad I got everyone hot and bothered.
You have a problem with constructive criticism.
No,
in certain
that's
situations.
completely
No,
different.
that's what it sounds like.
No, if they're not doing it themselves, they can't complain. Like ordering in the drive-thru. If I order your food and I didn't hear that you said something and you bitch about it for the next 2 hours that you got something you didn't want, oh, sorry, you should have just been driving and done it yourself.
Well,
it's not my fault.
If you ask me to repeat myself, then I might take a problem with that. Evan's third one?
That was going to lead into my next question. It just seems like there's been a lot of lists that are hating on Jared Goff a little bit. I was just wondering your take on Jared Goff and if he could theoretically be a top 15 quarterback this year, or is that just no chance?
I think top 15 would be tough, just because I do think that there's a lot. When Sean McVay is willing to move on from you as aggressively as they did for what is an upgrade in Matt Stafford, but not a significant one, I do think that's very telling of what Goff is capable of and what Goff is capable of without McVay. I mean, it's a joke on NFL Twitter how much of a puppet he was with the strings that McVay was pulling. But I mean, does that mean Jared Goff needs those strings? And if given more freedom, what does this Jared Goff look like? I can't imagine it's a train wreck that some are projecting. Like, I do think that Jared Goff, with the experience he's had in the NFL, is not going to regress to what we saw his rookie season. I think a lot of people think that. A lot of people think, his 1 year without McVay, with Jeff Fisher, it was an absolute disaster, called a bust by many people then. That's what we're going to see in this upcoming season. I'm not behind that. I don't think we're going to see that bad of a Jared Goff. It's not going to be as bad as what we saw from maybe Carson Wentz last year, who I thought was maybe arguably the worst quarterback in the NFL last year. I do think Goff is better than that. Is he a top 15 quarterback? Maybe he doesn't get there. But, I mean, Lions are going to benefit. I mean, not necessarily benefit from a draft order perspective, but they're going to see they'd see more wins than a lot of people are expecting if Goff was even a top 20, top 18 type of quarterback in 2021, which easier said than done with the receiving core. But I think another underrated part of the Lions is that offensive line. Like, that offensive line is showing up to be one of the more competent ones. I think they're going to see some second-year development from Logan Stenberg. I think they also have really good tackles. Obviously, Penei Sewell being added there. I think they have an underrated offensive line that Deandre Swift can progress as well. I think there are more question marks at receiver, but still, I do not think they should be as hated on as maybe some other media are suggesting.
Yeah, I mean, specifically too, and again, the beautiful thing about the sport is we'll get to see when the season plays out. But the one on the list Alex was talking about was beautiful for this show. We loved it because it gave us something to talk about and got us fired up. It was from Bruce Gradkowski at PFF. His list may have changed, but it seems like you're more on our side because on that list, Jared Goff was 26 in the league, and all of us were like, "Wow, are we just way off on this guy?" And think about, like you said, top 15, because you see names in the top 15 on this list. I don't think Jared Goff necessarily is going to be better than Justin Herbert by any means, or your Tannehills, who's gotten better. I mean, even Stafford. Jared Goff's not in that tier. But when you see some names like Justin Fields and Taysom Hill, Winston combo, and Wentz, we start is that really where he's going to be at? And it just kind of goes I don't know, in your perspective too, is this massive shift that's happened from Jared Goff from 2018 when they were dominating. And I just think back to the Chief shootout game, the Vikings game, and then we landed here. And it's he's a different guy. So kind of that progression, what do you really think is happened there?
So, I mean, I think a lot of it is Sean McVay is well aware of what his ceiling is with Jared Goff from an offensive efficiency standpoint, from a big play standpoint, and that is what drove him to go chase another guy. I don't think it was necessarily him afraid of the floor; he was afraid of the ceiling. I mean, and I think that's the same thing the San Francisco 49ers saw. When Jimmy Garoppolo was a competent quarterback, same as Jared Goff, took him to the Super Bowl. But you know what the ceiling is with Jimmy Garoppolo. You know what the ceiling is with Jared Goff. And I think when you talk about roster construction and trying to build Super Bowl competitive teams, you can't win a Super Bowl consistently, and that's the goal. People forget the goal in the NFL is not to win a Super Bowl. The goal in the NFL is to be consistently competing for Super Bowls. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, obviously Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. Those were teams that consistently competed for Super Bowls, and those teams obviously had Super Bowl competent or Super Bowl competitive quarterbacks. That's not Jimmy G. That's not Jared Goff. And I think that the NFL as a whole would agree to that. Obviously, the coaches respectively agreed to that. So they went to go chase a higher ceiling than Matthew Stafford. With that being said, the Detroit Lions don't care about Jared Goff's ceiling. They know that this roster isn't good enough to win with Jared Goff, and they are aware of what his ceiling is. But his floor is going to make this team a lot better than I think people think. And I think that's where the national narrative has completely destroyed Goff because he did not play to expectation. He was traded away for nothing, and they got 2 first-round picks. I mean, they got with Matthew Stafford and stuff. I do think that the national narrative has dumped on Jared Goff wrongfully, and that his floor is still good. He's going to be better than the Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston combination, in my opinion. I think he's going to be better than a lot of rookie quarterbacks this upcoming year. I think the Denver Broncos situation is obviously worse than what Jared Goff brings to the table. So I do think that you're going to see a better than what people expect Jared Goff. However, that's still going to be a team that barely scratches over 5-6 wins.
Got it. Alex and Evan, throw it out to you guys for any of your last ones before I get my last one in here.
I would say one more interesting person. I know you touched on him a little bit with the offensive line, but Deandre Swift, is he able to be top 10, top 5, like PFF grade this year with the offensive line and his ceiling?
Absolutely. I mean, I think what's great about running backs too is there's a lot of volatility with, grading and grading well. A lot of it is dependent on, opponent box count, how successful your offensive line is. And, to peel back the layers a little bit on how you grade well as a running back is forcing missed tackles, gaining yards after contact, and really gaining yards above expectation. I think Deandre Swift was our number 1 back in that class out of Georgia. Really liked what he could do. And his forced missed tackle rate at Georgia, in my opinion, was not a just number because there were so many times on his tape to where he was beating people's angles to a point where they couldn't even, attempt a tackle, and he couldn't even log a forced missed tackle. So I do think that we were higher on Deandre Swift than a lot of others were as well. And I think that's another situation where rookie coming in with a lot of high expectations with Zoom classes and a COVID impacted season, it's very difficult to live up to those. You're going to see a lot more confidence from Deandre Swift this year. You're going to see a lot more confidence from the Detroit Lions coaching staff from him, and obviously a more improved offensive line. I would not be surprised if Deandre Swift is one of the several kind of like reasons to turn the Lions on type of players for them this year.
Mm-hmm. My final question kind of follows that up a little bit. Who do you think the best player on the Lions is right now?
Man, that's tough. I mean, I want to think about this is a cop out here because I don't think he'll be the best player on the team in 2021. But the player I would call like a core building block, and the number 1 building block is Penei Sewell, because I do think with the pre-draft process we talk about Penei Sewell is this kind of once in a generation offensive tackle prospect, the guy that did things at the Power 5 level at 18, 19 years old that we've really never seen, and I think he can be an Ogden type. But when you think about positional value, and we have this conversation a ton of PFF, is that Jonathan Ogden doesn't move the needle as much as you think it does when offensive line is largely a wink-link unit and you're looking to have completeness, not necessarily eliteness along the offensive line. But I would say, pound for pound or just, throw positional value out the window, I think he is, objectively one of the, if not the most talented player on this Detroit Lions roster. Offensive line, however, the developmental curve in the NFL, you oftentimes see players take 1-2 years to really progress. Tristan Wirfs is an obvious outlier, but if I had to pick a player to have a Tristan Wirfs-like type of season, I think Sewell is more than capable of that.
All right. So the final one here before we let you go is talk to all the players, talk the philosophy, and everyone likes to give them, and they're usually never right. But if you had to put a win-loss prediction for the Detroit Lions in the first ever 17-game, 18-week season, what would it be?
I think a lot of me wants to float around this 6 or 7 win. And because we are on a Detroit Lions podcast, I'm going to go more positive. I'm going to say 7 and 10.
Yeah.
7 and 10 in regular season, I think, is where my mind goes. And I think that's going to shock people. That's not a good season. You're not going to the playoffs. But that, I think, will shock people. I think they win 7 games this upcoming season on a 17-game schedule. And they're going to be teams that go into Detroit or have Detroit come to them. And they're like, man, they're up, they're 7, 10-point favorites. But I think they're going to take some L's, man. I think this coaching staff is different. I think this roster has gotten to a point where it's underrated. Jared Goff gotten to a point where it's underrated. It's not a good roster. I spoke to that, but still maybe not as bad as maybe how Vegas sees it or how others see it as well.
Well, people can call it a loser mentality all they want, but I would take 7 and 10. I would take it.
7 would be great for this team.
That'd be nice. another point I had that I'm curious to see if you guys feel the same way. So it is about the Pistons. Just bear with me here. I'm going to build into it.
Mhm.
I would call it an existential depression. I kind of went through a little bit last night. I was laying down. I watched nerded out here. I watched all the drafts. I love drafts, but the draft overall sucked compared to the NFL draft because we talked about how they leak every pick. I should have just refreshed Twitter the whole time.
Shams,
And-
Woj, everyone was just
And also the
dropping
analysts were so bad, except for shout out Mike Schmitz. Mike Schmitz was good. And I like Jay Billis, but I don't need Reese Davis and Kendrick Perkins just standing there.
I do not need Kendrick Perkins telling me who to draft because he doesn't do research. He's just up there
I do love Jay Billis,
No.
though. Love that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I like Jay on college, but also Jay, I don't think has a great feel for how everyone's going to translate to the NBA. I don't know. Anyways, the whole coverage was and they say every pick's great. No one questioned any pick. Anyways, besides that, so I suffered through all of that. It took forever. And then I'm locked into my phone last night on free agency. And then I see we signed Kelly Olynyk, we signed Trey Lyles, we signed Corey Joseph back. I'm
Canadians.
I'm laying down late at night. I'm Grant, what is the point of all this that you're doing? Not the podcast. I like this, but I'm how locked I am. I'm Detroit sports in general. We're so playoff starved. I'm refreshing my phone, putting on push notifications. For what? We're debating, we're analyzing this whole team to miss the playoffs again. And
You got to look forward to something.
we're going to be back here a year from now having this same discussion. Oh, what piece did we have in free agency to maybe make the play-on tournament again? For the Tigers. Oh, who are we going to sign in the summer to miss the playoffs again? It's
Grant.
I'm telling you, I went through one last night. I was what is this all even for?
The Pistons are signing a max player next summer, and the Tigers just said today, I don't know if we're talking about them or not, that they're going to sign a bunch of big-name guys. So next summer is going to be
But do you guys...
And we are going to make
Do you guys ever
playoffs.
go through that, though, where you're what's the point of all this, sports craziness? It's
For 5
we
minutes,
just
and then
stink
I
right
tell
now.
myself that I'm doing this because eventually we will be on top again. The Lions for the first time.
Is that it? Is that what I need to just snap
You just
myself
got to
back?
know that every team goes through highs and lows.
But
You're
it's
going to
been-
have bad years. You're going to have good years. And everyone finds its cycle and everyone ends up winning.
I think it's just especially bad right now is the whole state. You can even throw in Michigan into the mix as well.
Well, I'm glad they stink.
And you can throw in Michigan State's football team as well and basketball last year.
We're
It's
on the rise.
we're just in such a bad state in the whole sports landscape.
Yeah, you watch it, dude. Michigan State basketball had one bad year.
You're taking it way too personally. I'm just talking about you get what I'm
Yes,
saying.
I know
Though.
what
Let's
you're
not.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
saying
just-
you're being too negative.
When's the last year we made the playoffs in any Detroit sports? Was it the Red Wings? Was it the
Pistons, Bucks.
Pistons, Bucks?
We were the 8th seed.
We got swept. It's
Got
dude,
swept.
it's been over 5 years, I think. We're so bad.
Wait a minute.
The whole landscape is so bad. And it's we're grinding out, sweating out Kelly Olynyk deals at 6:30 p.m. on a
I am not
On a
sweating out
Monday.
Kenny Olynyk deals because I don't want him on the team.
I also was not sweating that.
right, but we're paying attention to it. We're giving it our brain
We have
power.
a
We're
podcast.
thinking about
Give the
it.
people what
Yes.
they want.
But
Yes,
it's
I was diving in, and I'm still diving in. I didn't even know half of the free agency moves, and I'm still trying to figure out where everyone's going.
Did I have Twitter notifications on for
We're just
every
addicted
single
to
free
it.
agent
I mean,
signing?
it's something that we do, and
I guess
something that we love. Because without Sports Grant, I would be a sack of potatoes.
So
I would be
bored.
unenjoyable to hang out with. Nobody would like me.
The couple months of COVID with no sports, I was just absolutely miserable.
I think
I didn't know what
that's
to do with myself.
I think that's a better point than we'll be good again one day. I don't really believe that sometimes.
You're negative.
I do believe that I just don't know what I would do. Would I just get into knitting or kung fu? What hobby is going to replace
Knitting?
Well, what's going to replace
All
sports?
right, Grandma.
Am I just going to read books at night? What am I going to do?
You're going to watch TV shows and watch movies. And there's so many people in the world that don't have any interest in sports, and they're fine.
Not that many.
No,
Don't have
there's
any
a lot.
Are
interest.
they fine? Are they fine though?
Psychopaths, I would say.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Are they?
Not most. There's a lot of females that don't care about sports at all, and they're totally fine.
Are they though?
They don't even notice. They don't even blink.
Well,
They care
also
about the Kardashians. Which is better, sports or Kardashians?
I guess
I'm
we
not
should-
saying sports isn't bad.
No,
I'm just
girls are-
saying people are.
girls are different about it, though.
Girls
I'm saying
get
more,
through it, no problem.
I'm saying more like guys. Girls are wired differently. Their genes are different. Their hormones are different when it comes to sports. They just don't feel it the same way we do. I'm saying
you feel it inner.
I'm saying majority of guys out there have at least a decent interest in sports. And if I wasn't one of
I
them,
wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't be friends with you guys if I didn't pay attention to them, I feel like.
Grant, we all met in kindergarten. I think we'd be friends.
I don't know, man. If I was like,
I don't know. If you didn't have any interest in sports, I don't think we would like be that close of friends.
no, I agree, 100%.
Well, we're also a little different than most dudes. We're like full on Sports Center at age 5. Like,
And
favorite
what
show.
for our teams to not make the playoffs for the last 5 years?
Well, we're
I'm
like
telling you,
the obsessed type with sports.
going
There's plenty of
through it.
people that don't care as much.
I'm going through it.
It'll be fine.
Well, they need to start caring more, and that'll get our Detroit sports teams out of the graveyard. If everyone just cared more,
Evan, they're on their way.
Dude, there's something to being said, similar to how I was thinking when Barstool started, like Boston went on a dominant stretch, and they already were good, but like some were saying that the Shaw Michigan sports beginning, things have been looking up for Detroit sports. We had ourselves quite a weekend. Henceforth, therefore, Sunday was travel day. Wasn't really going to be feasible to record. So let's just not beat around the bush and let's just get into that. How was everyone's weekend in Miami, Florida? Miami-Dade County, the 305.
Love the weather.
305.
Evan,
Weather? You want me to go first?
I just love the weather. But yeah, you got there first, so you lead off first.
Yeah, well, I did get there. Well, I didn't get first out of us three, not the first out of the big group.
Right.
Shout out Drew, who landed there at 10.
Alone.
He was saving our spot at the bar when we showed up around 1. Just a great overall weekend. Thursday was, kind of relaxed, get to the house, enjoy everybody's company, wait for you guys to arrive super late. And then Friday, it just took off to the extreme. And I think you got progressively. What word do I want to use?
Liability.
Progressively dangerous.
Chaotic.
Dangerous
A
is the
good
word.
way?
I was like trying to think of a word that was
Reckless.
anti-safety.
Reckless. I think reckless is a good one.
It got reckless, more reckless as we went on.
Yeah.
It did. Because oh my gosh, Saturday was. Friday was super fun. Went to a club. I did not fit in. And I felt awkward every second I was in there.
Yep.
But it was fun. I can say I went to a Miami club.
Yep.
You went to a nightclub.
Story was called. Right?
Probably one of the last times until, I'm actually older, where I look at the bill when you buy 2 drinks and you're like, goo, that's $100. See you later. But that was fun. Friday day
was the beach bar.
Friday day, I had a jumbo margarita that knocked me into my seat.
Those things, they put us down, pretty bad.
No, I think it put me up. I was feeling it. Drew showed me a video. I don't remember taking it. So, those huge fish bowls, whatever you want to call them. The fact that we ordered 2, all of us were like, yeah, 2 for 1. We can drink these. And they came out. These were like 90 ounces.
It's like a 2-liter.
Yeah,
of alcohol.
I'll separate myself from the group there for a second. That was one of the smarter things I did.
They didn't charge us for them. Don't worry.
Right. I was actually curious about that, what they did do. But I looked to the person sitting next to me on my left, and I was like, hey, I don't know how big these are. There was no photos, but I know they're going to be massive. Just like it said, like world's like largest, basically. One of those claims. So I was like, why don't I just get one and then you take the free one? And I think that was the move looking back on it.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a 2-liter of booze. It was wild.
Hey, Wilkins finished 2 of them, so shout out him.
Well,
his first one wasn't frozen. It's cheating.
Oh, asterisks.
Also, trust tree here. Not that, hundreds of people listen to this and DK probably will. But I made a little proposition with them that revolved around him finishing 2 of these frozen things. And he wasn't going to anyway, so I don't feel that bad about it. But I never told him. When he went to the bathroom once, I poured like a quarter of mine into his. So like he got back and it was like back full. And again, the first one knocked us all back in our seats. He didn't really put 2 and 2 together. Like he looked at it when he sat down from the bathroom, looked at me, he was like, yeah, Grant, there's just like no way I finished this. And I was like, yeah, Drew, I told you. Again,
yeah, I took mine to go and I drank mine at the beach.
Oh yeah, you did. That was a great move. I think I drank some of yours at the beach.
Yeah, and then we went to another bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I like espresso martinis.
Never had one. I took a big drink of Cody's and it was delicious.
It tasted like what I ordered from Starbucks, but with alcohol in it. And I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Club. And then Saturday
It's actually miraculous we made it to the
Was Friday our game of football in the pool that was more intense than the game we went down there to see?
After the bars.
That game was sweet.
I was just thinking about that. Like, what did we do like Friday afternoon before we actually went to the club? Oh, you know what? We all acted like we were 17, 16, and just played pool. We were in the pool playing football.
Yeah, and I heard a disc in my back because I hit it against the side of the pool.
I was sore the next day. My feet are also blistered.
Yeah, my feet are destroyed. My toes have like blisters on them. Not as bad as you, Alex, but
yeah.
Back to DK. He slipped and fell outside of the pool on a get-off route by me, and he had a huge bruise like right here on his elbow.
Yeah.
Reckless.
It's honestly surprising
Dangerous.
no one like smashed their head and got seriously injured.
Oh, there was massive wildlife iguana lizard creatures in the backyard.
No thanks.
The Friday as well.
Giant.
You know, we're all from the Midwest, and I don't think any of us have really seen one up close and personal unless we're at a zoo. And then now that you get up close and personal with them, they're a little creepy.
Oh, they're pretty. They're like the size of a toddler.
They got those like turkeys. They have those skin beards, and whenever a creature has a skin beard, it just really gives me the weebie-jeebies.
That was an absolute no for me.
All right, I think C-Dub said it best. You know, he's like, I feel like I'm in the movie Holes right now, and that's exactly what it was. When that scene where all those like little yellow lizards are surrounding them, and they're poisonous. And you walk outside, and there's just like two of them just sitting right there, like waiting for you. And I guess I didn't see it, but I heard they can climb trees.
I watched it. Terrifying.
Which is unfair. It's an unfair advantage that they can do that from above.
Scary. One dropped in from up top. Oh my god. Also, I was just sipping my coffee, and someone's like, "Dude, there's lizards out here." I was expecting to come see like some geckos.
Yeah, like the.
And I walk out and I see like a human-sized iguana, and I almost pooped my pants. So. And then there was two of them. So
and I was just thinking that the night before, briefly Thursday, the power was out at the place for a while, which was funny in itself to watch how everyone battled through that. But one of our friends, Cheese, was running around outside in the dark. And then I was thinking about that Friday when I remembered that those iguanas lived out there. I'm like, what if one of them just snatched him when he was outside last night? Like that would be the end. You would never hear from him again if that happened.
I can say they were definitely afraid of people because I charged one and just ran away.
Don't hurt me.
Yeah, but I just didn't like him. I needed him to leave. Just too big.
Evan, you said Saturday. We'll get to game stuff when we recap the actual game.
Saturday night.
I would also just say Saturday after the game was pure, like a classic zombie mode where everyone was just needed to recover for several hours, and the heat takes a toll on your body, and getting that food delivery is just like all you can wait for and hope for.
It was an early get up for Saturday morning.
We blinked.
It was at noon, so it'll be Friday night. You party into the night, and get up and do it again.
Wake up at 8. No, you just like figure it out.
I think I realized how much time we were kind of just all zombies when Evan, you kept saying, "Oh, I really want to see the like Penn State run out. I gotta make sure I'm out here for that." And I'm thinking in my head when you said, I was like, "That's like an hour and a half from now," and then it was in 15 minutes. I was like, "Oh my gosh, the night game is starting." Like, what have we been doing for the last 2.5 hours? Just everyone ordering different food to the place.
Got an important question for you guys.
Yeah.
So have you ever just been making like the perfect sandwich, and then you go into the drawer and then you just have a moldy piece of Colby Jack cheese? That's how I would describe Saturday night after a certain point, Just everything was going really well, and then just one thing spoiled a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I've reflected on that.
Spoiling it is a kind word.
I'm trying to be reasonably nice.
Well, hand up. I don't think, it did get better for me quite fast.
Some of us didn't get to, continue to enjoy the night and had to clean up the spoiled cheese.
Here's where I'll land on it. I don't think hand up. The bar that I proposed was a swing and a miss. I had been to Miami in like July. That bar was super, super fun, or more fun than it was. I mean, there was the average age of people at said bar was like 45. So we just looked like idiots.
We didn't fit in.
But
some.
So I will say I didn't really think the night was going to go anywhere differently than I guess where it, like Evan said, ended up. But so in a weird way, while it may have stunk for some people more than others,
just me, really, yeah,
and CP,
yeah.
But it to me, looking back, it was memorable. Like it's a night that I will always remember. It's like, oh, remember that one time. Yeah. So I guess in a weird way, it's not the worst night that could happen. But yes, the sandwich making process got a little messy on Saturday night, as the metaphor you used.
Yeah.
Sometimes you take it too big of a bite and you turn out that cheese is mold halfway through.
Then
That bite just
you just
can't
throw
hang.
up
You don't know what
endlessly,
to do with it.
But then there's some iconic moments, like you look back on those videos and pictures and be like, yeah, that was something.
Let's hit on Mel Tucker. What a job this guy has done at Michigan State. And obviously it's still continuing. It's going to be a very fascinating storyline just to see how far he can take this team. And it's almost like a changing of, you talked about earlier, Evan, how that play in 2015 changed the history of college football. I almost think the blueprint Mel Tucker's laid out for a fast rebuild in college football could be changing a blueprint with the transfer portal. You have to, I know people write articles about it and The Athletic has great ones, but the praise that this man should get for just from what I've heard, he built a transfer recruiting department. There's 3 guys on Michigan State staff that all they do is
Michigan State's football department is built like an NFL front office, and that's that transfer portal is free agency to them.
And I think, obviously there's probably teams out there that do the same thing that we don't know about, but it feels like they're trendsetters in this space with how early and how new these rules are, that he worked it the way he did. And the fact that they found a Heisman candidate in the transfer portal to help you win this game. Do you guys ever think, after listening to Mel Tucker speak and just how good he is at everything, that he could be a robot? Sometimes I look at this guy and I don't know if he's a real human being. He seems too perfect.
I can't imagine what his days are like. I mean, he's so laser focused on everything, and he just does everything right so far. I mean, I'm not going to say that he's going to be the greatest coach ever, but there's a lot to like through his first season and 8 games or whatever. So his first 15 games. Yeah, I mean, he's been unbelievable. More than I could have expected.
Way more.
Yeah. And Evan,
100% way more expected.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, I love D'Antonio and all that, but I mean,
you don't have to compare him, honestly.
I'm not comparing him. It's just, I feel like I heard this and I thought it was a pretty good take that Mel is kind of saving how Mark D'Antonio ended his tenure, because it looked like it was going to be super dark for a bunch of years after Mark retired, whatever you want to call it. And then Mel all of a sudden goes in the transfer portal, and you got one COVID year, and all of a sudden you're 8-0, and it's November 1st, and we're talking about Michigan State being in the top 5 in the college football playoff rankings, which is crazy. I would never have expected this. If someone told me this a year ago, I would have laughed at him.
You did predict they'd be 7-0. I don't know if you thought they'd win this game.
I did predict Michigan State would be 7-0 in July or something. I'm just really smart college football analyst. But, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I just hope that Michigan State does whatever they can to keep him. You can't let him leave.
Evan, do you think, because as a fan, I mean, I can't say anything about it now, but this whole, Mel Tucker has this vision of the brand and all these buzzwords of the deep end, the woodshed, keep chopping.
He's a phrase guy.
Relentless, and it just seems so corny and weird. But I honestly think the way I picture this guy is they went in the locker room, and when they were down 30-14, and he says keep chopping, he has all these kids so bought into how imposing a figure he is. They're yep, that's all we have to do.
Evan, wait. I had another follow-up question to that. Just, you've been around him while he's coaching.
True.
Can you just talk about his presence? Just how does it feel to be around that guy? Does he just demand respect, demand excellence? You just want to be better when you're around him. That's how I assume it is.
Because I was a little schoolgirl, because I was there. But he walks into the practice facility, and all eyes are on him. He is the face of the program now. He's kind of co-face of the program because Kenneth Walker. But to demand the respect, the intensity, and the professional or do your job mantra, every single rep, every single time, you have to get better. I think that's what he demands. And I think the players, like Ren said, with all these catchphrases, they're bought in. Because obviously the players that weren't bought in, they're no longer on the team. And to get all those transfers, I think it was something that you had to buy into him, because players weren't be able to visit. They didn't get to see anything. And so they're playing for the head coach personally. They weren't playing for the stadium. They weren't playing for the uniforms. They weren't playing for the campus. They were playing for the new head coach that came and said, we want you on our roster. We want you buying into our system. The job that he's done, I don't know. I can't think of anything that you can compare it to. Recent memory, like the closest thing you could say is LSU and Joe Burrow. But, I mean, that was like one guy, and a lot of the other kids were just highly recruits, and Joe Brady made that team, not Ed Orgeron.
Right. And I just think the big thing with Tucker, like Thorne said after the game, there's not a coach I would rather play for. I mean, all the players love him. They all respect him. He gets everyone ready to go. The team never thinks they're out of it. And this team, talent-wise, is not even one of the more talented teams we've had, probably. There's been more talented teams in the D'Antonio era, and yet this team just finds ways every single week. And it's mind-blowing. I don't know what that guy does, but I need his regimen. And make me a better person.
I swear, I just want like a day in the life.
Can I just follow Mel around for like 1 week? I'm sure my life would improve drastically.
I think like it's a combination of like his, because you can't deny it, like his look, his build, like it strikes fear in you. And then I also think like he made this comment that he had lost his voice. He says he only yells in enthusiasm. I think maybe Evan can confirm in practice that's not always the case, that he does yell when he's mad. But like I almost think maybe as the season goes on, he just like almost gives us like, I'm just disappointed in you for not doing your job. Like it's like he strikes his fear, but then also like you don't hate him. You want to do well for him, and you have to take him seriously because of how like put together, and like even when he was on like game day, I didn't get to see it, but people were saying like his just suit was so crisp, the tie was perfectly knotted. Like the guy's a perfectionist, and he never like looks disheveled or puts himself in a bad light in public. And I think that probably like that detail and all that has to trickle down throughout the program.
His kids probably feel so much pressure to be perfect all the time. God, that probably sucks.
This is the parallel I want to draw. I mean, I don't think it's a reach. It's just, I don't know why it dawned on me. I was just thinking about the programs. I think we're watching like a Mel Tucker and Juwan Howard are kind of comparable figures right now in like the sports. Like if you think about Juwan came in, had like a, I don't know, not terrible first year. It wasn't great. And then vaults them to like massive success in year two. And he's kind of that similar, like imposing figure, has been around the block, like, has a little. They both have a little swag element where they relate to the younger kids. Like I think that we could be on this thing where it's like different sports, but in this, at least in our state, like Mel Tucker and Juwan Howard are kind of similar figures, at least in my mind, of how they're like revamping a program. Now the natural thing is like I think Juwan took over the program in a better spot than Mel walked into, so he had to do more. But also, you can't work the portal as much. But Juwan worked the portal in year one and got.
I mean, he brought in a number one recruiting class,
a point guard, and so I think that's something interesting to just keep in mind. Like there is something to be said, like cool coaches that know what they're doing. Like that really is huge in today's society. And I think we're watching like Mel Tucker do it.
Evan, would you take any other college coaches over Mel Tucker right now? This is a tough question. Like if you were starting now and you get a guy,
I mean,
who are you picking?
Probably Nick Saban.
Right.
I mean,
but let's say other than Nick Saban, because that's the obvious choice. How many coaches are you taking ahead of him? I can think of one for sure. I think maybe, and none of them are for sure.
I really like Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley was the name that came to
mind. I don't know how
you
do in the Big Ten, but I think he's a genius.
His offense is crazy. I love that. But other than him, it's hard to think of many.
I mean, like I know people are trying to say now that Dabo's only good with a generational QB, but still, like what he did at Clemson could be kind of similar. Like Clemson was a laughing stock that always lost the big game, and he like
Clemson's the blueprint.
So I mean, Dabo is up there. He's cringy though. I don't like him better than Mel. I think Mel's a easier to swallow person. But were those the names you were thinking of?
He's got a lot.
I mean, you guys go around college football and look at the success stories. I mean, Lincoln Riley, Ryan Day, Dabo Sweeney, Kirby Smart.
That was a Kirby disciple.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mel coached an NFL team.
Oh.
People forget this.
He was
an interim head coach, and he was in the running to take over an NFL franchise.
He was handed a good situation, but like I think Ryan Day's a genius, and he kept the program going. He didn't fumble the bag, so I think there's something to be said there.
It's always fun to take offensive genius head coaches.
But if we're having this discussion, like I'm taking Mel Tucker.
But Ryan Day and Lincoln Riley was kind of like the same situation where you had this Hall of Fame coach in front of you and you kind of force him out because of how good this young coach is behind you. Otherwise, that young coach is going to leave and take over a different program.
Mel Tucker or Urban Meyer right now?
Mel Tucker.
Wait.
There's too much stuff going around with Urban Meyer, even in the college level.
Right.
I'm not speaking of what he does in the NFL. I'm thinking Urban Meyer's a college coach. There's too much baggage there where, yes, he's won national championship, but there's too much baggage. And, Mel Tucker moves around.
Now, I know you hate James Franklin, but nationally he's liked. Is it Mel over James?
Nationally, he's liked for no reason because he hasn't won anything. The only reason he is relevant is because he had one player, and we already talked about that one player.
Grant?
If he never had Saquon Barkley, he would not be at Penn State.
Does he? I don't know if I wouldn't want him to start now, but does he stay above?
If you're hiring a head coach, your athletic director, are you hiring Mel Tucker or James Franklin?
Well, I think James Franklin. So I'd hire Mel Tucker. Now this guy I also don't like just because of the teams, but like I think Brian Kelly may have a case. Like
I would be tough for me to do that.
He's like, I know Notre Dame's easy to recruit to, and their schedule sometimes isn't the toughest every year because they're independent. But like, his program was in a dark spot under him, and he was able to revive them. And they've had multiple playoff appearances. I think he has a case. As much as I don't like him, he has a case.
All right, Evan. Now my last question. Quick question. If you're the athletic director of Michigan State, Mel Tucker's currently making around like $5.5 million, with like $6 million in bonuses. The top 10 coaches paid, I think he's 13. Top 10 is like in the $7 million range, so it'd be like a $2 million raise. Do you give it to him now, or do you wait and take the risk that he might leave?
You give it to him at the end of the season, but you already had discussions going in. Like currently, you already have discussions with him saying, "Mel, you've done a fantastic job so far, and we'd like to give you the benefit for doing that and keeping you around." There's a video of Alan Howler celebrating on the field and his enthusiasm towards the football program. Former
player.
I think he played football. Yes, former player. So the comments I have in the athletic director now, I have confidence that he will do the right thing. And the more that they talk to Izzo about everything, because Izzo is like the face of the university, there's no way he leaves, in my opinion, unless he really has a vision where he wants bigger and better things. But Michigan State has all the resources, and anything that he asks is going to happen.
Would you make him a top 5 coach in college football if they won the Big Ten this year?
You mean
top 5? If we won the Big Ten, yes, absolutely. I would give him a blank check and say, write your number on it.
That would be based on it'd be about $7,700 million. That would slot him in just above Lincoln Riley.
Yeah,
but also from that top.
It's like the NFL quarterbacks. Every single new year, there's a new high-paid NFL quarterback.
You just don't want to fall into
college football. Every single year, there's going to be a new high-paid head coach.
Right, like
just supply and demand.
To keep Mel Tucker, likely he's going to need to be paid more than Ryan Day is making, and that's just like how the new quarterback gets his contract. That's just how it's going to go.
I think Mel at the end of the season will get to close to the $7 million, which would put him in front.
The greatest win in sports I've ever seen in my life since 2004, since when the Pistons brought home the championship against Kobe and the Lakers. There's no better win that rivals it.
If you're
a Michigan fan, if you're Grant, I mean, it was just, there's so many places to start. I'm going to try to do big picture stuff and a little bit X's and O's. I'm not going to get into the future because we got to focus on the present and what we saw. And I don't want to bore people to death because half of our audience doesn't really care, although they should, because, it's a shakeup in the college football landscape of the Big Ten of everything. This could change college football for years going forward. Who knows what's going to happen? But really, I always thought in my mind, and maybe you guys felt the same way too, I'm curious, is like I always thought when Michigan was going to eventually win this game, because even though it felt like sometimes it felt impossible, they were going to win it because, again, they're 18 to 20-year-old kids. They're gonna figure out how to beat a team. I thought it would feel fluky in a way. Like I thought Ohio State would have a couple turnovers. Maybe a big call would be made by the refs. Maybe there'd be a block punt or a punt return. I thought it'd be one where Michigan stole it from Ohio State and Ohio State's still the better team. But what happened on Saturday was on that day. Now, I'm not saying if they played in the future on a neutral site out of 10 times what would happen. I'm saying on that day, on that field, They bullied them, and it was clear to anyone that watched that Michigan was the better team in the football game on that day. And that was stunning. That made it even better because there was no room for debate. There was no, though this happened, so that's why, like, that was fluky. It was just like a total ass kicking of a team that I always forget how much I hate because I'm friends with you guys, because my great friends are Michigan State. I spend so much time thinking about the Michigan State rivalry that I forget, like, we have Wyatt in our chat, but Wyatt's not an aggressive Ohio State fan. I like Wyatt. He's like one of the few Ohio State fans.
You don't like us?
No, I like you guys.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, like, I like almost every Michigan State fan I've ever met. I like their campus. I like hanging out at their bars. When Ohio State rolls around, I actually hate every single thing about that university and, like, their fans and those idiot faces and Ryan Day's dyed beard. And he looked like the Michelin Man out there on Saturday in his little two-tone jacket with those doofy gray sweatpants. And it's like, it felt so good to finally, like, humble him and to see him in distress on the sideline. But I don't want to get carried away with just hating on Ohio State because it should be more praise of Michigan. I think, in my mind, the two guys that had incredible games were Hassan Haskins and Aiden Hutchinson. Obviously, I wrote down their names because they need to be said, is Zach Zinter, Andrew Vistardis, Andrew Stuber, Ryan Hayes, and Trevor Keegan. The offensive line, unbelievable. Looked like men against boys. I think when I knew, like, I guess you never really know how great your offensive line is or anything in Michigan until you play Ohio State, because in years past they've gotten to this one loss and then just got embarrassed. But when the fight broke out in this third quarter, when they just got right in the cornerback's face, and it's like, okay, these are like grown men that you're just not going to mess with on this given day, is when it kind of set in.